Hey, it's Adrian, and if you're looking for a powerful pair of desktop speakers, you should check out Edifier's QR65 monitor speakers with GaN charging. The QR65 has a total output of 70 watts with a 1.25-inch silk-dome tweeter and a 2.75-inch mid-low driver with their own dedicated Class D amplifiers for really nicely tuned sound. There's also LDAC support and high-res audio along with high-res wireless audio certifications. There's tons of connectivity options, even a subwoofer out, and infinity LED mirror display which looks super nice and can be customized with the Edifier Connects app. There's physical buttons for quick changes and even the option to charge up to 3 devices at once with up to 65 watts using the GaN charging feature. The Edifier QR65 basically has it all, but it's missing a couple of things that you may or may not need, so let's take a closer look, and a big thanks to Edifier for sending these out for review. In the box, we have the Edifier QR65 speaker stand, manual, power cable, RCA cable to 3.5mm cable, USB Type-A to Type-A cable, speaker connecting wire, and cleaning cloth. I have the Edifier QR65 speakers in white, but it also comes in black as well. Now, the active speaker is coming in at around 2.8 kilograms or about 6.1 pounds, and the passive speaker is about 2.5 kilograms. On the front, we have that beautiful mirror display with that kind of infinity effect, and on the top, we have the 1.25-inch silk dome tweeter and a 2.75-inch mid-low driver. The Edifier logo is at the bottom there. On the other side, we have a kind of metal stamp or badge. And then on the right side, this is where we have the button control. So we have volume button controls, and these have hard stops and then one for light effects as well. And then we have a power button and an LED indicator light for the different modes. On the very bottom, we have kind of rubberized feet to keep this nice and planted. We have the RCA input, USB Type-A input. We also have a sub-out input, which is really nice to see on these speakers. Speaker connector port. There's also the power switch, power plug area, and this is where we have the 65-watt charging. So there's one Type-A input and two Type-C input. There's also the bass reflex port. Everything is housed in this MDF enclosure, and we have this type of textured leatherette material. On the passive speaker, the only noteworthy thing is the speaker connecting port. Edifier also ships the QR65 with two speaker stands, so these are a 10-degree angulation. You can see we have kind of a rubberized strip at the back there, and then on the front it does say a passion for sound as well. At the very bottom, we also have rubber feet to keep these nice and planted on your desk. Here's a quick look at the specs. Feel free to pause and review or jump ahead to the next section. So we have the RCA inputs, and we also have the supplied or included RCA cable with the 3.5mm connector end. So you can use this to connect, an older cell phone, a record player, even to your TV. And we also have USB-A, so you can connect your desktop, laptop. You can also use this cable for your desktop or laptop if you wanted to keep a USB Type-A port free. And then we also have the sub-out port as well. And of course, we also have Bluetooth functionality on here. I'll go ahead and pair the QR65s to my phone with Bluetooth. So I'll just hit scan, scroll down, I can see it here, QR65. Wait for the pairing prompt. There we go. And I can see that it's now connected. If I tap into the options here, so I can see it's just set up for audio, not LDAC yet, because I'll have to go into the Edifier app to enable that. Note that I now have the option to turn LDAC on once I enable it in the Edifier Connects app. The button controls are easy to use, so I can easily do a volume up or volume down, and then I can actually go ahead and tap here to pause or resume music playback. You can quickly switch inputs with the power button. So right now it's in Bluetooth mode with the blue LED. If I press, that's gonna jump it into USB audio streaming, and I can press once more to put it into line-in mode. In the Edifier Connects app settings, it's showing the white speakers, which is a nice touch. We could also jump into input sources, switch it from Bluetooth, USB audio streaming line-in. Under sound effects or the EQs, you can switch from classic, monitor, game, vocal, or you can even set the customized EQ. So if you actually tap into that, you can dial it in exactly how you see fit. Under light effects, so you do need to use the app to go ahead, change the light modulation rate, the brightness setting. Under fast charging, it shows that I'm using the first USB Type-C port, and it's showing that I'm drawing around 12.8 watts for charging. And you can see if I look at my device currently being charged, it's showing about 13, so 13, 12.8, fairly accurate. If we jump into the additional options, we can look at the manual. Now under HE audio codec, this is where you would go to enable LDAC if you just want the highest possible quality for wireless audio. So you would turn that on. Now we could go into the prompt tones and have it, let you know when Bluetooth is successfully connected or disconnected. You can also power off the device right from here. Jump into the settings, disconnect Bluetooth there, and you can also reset everything to factory. Let's talk sound. So the 1.25 inch silk dome tweeter is outputting 15 watts and the 2.75 inch mid-low driver is outputting 20 watts. And then when you just add both speakers, that's a total of 70 watts. Each of the drivers has their own Class D amplifier. We have full digital signal processing, active two-way crossover, DRC, for just more tightly controlled sound and lower distortion. At max volume, there's really no noticeable distortion coming out of these, and even at max volume with nothing playing, I didn't notice any type of, like humming, crackling, hissing, nothing like that. I really didn't like the custom EQs in the Edifier Connects app, which is strange because I generally like the default EQs on all of their other speakers. But on the QR65s, I had to switch it from the classic or monitor mode to the custom EQ. And once I said that, that's when these really came to life, at least for my taste. They also sounded much better using the USB input over Bluetooth input, so the rest of my thoughts are going to be based on the USB input. Bass performance had good thump and kick, and it's pretty tightly controlled with the right amount of presence and fairly quick bass decay. And even when listening to bass heavy music like dubstep, it still hits quick and clean. But if you find yourself wanting even more bass, these do have a subwoofer out, which is very impressive. A lot of Edifier's other speakers don't have that, and you could pair that with Edifier's T5 subwoofer or any other subwoofer. Mids also had great clarity after I set the custom equalizer. When I was using the default equalizers, it just sounded a bit too recessed for my taste. So yeah, once these were dialed in with the custom EQ, it really came alive. I didn't notice any type of harshness or sibilance, and because the lows are nice and tightly controlled, it didn't really encroach on the mid. So as long as you dial these in right, they sound amazing. Highs were pretty detailed given the size of the tweeters, and it made listening to instrumental music really enjoyable, but it did lack a little bit of airiness that, I just personally prefer. Now, I am being a little bit critical because I just reviewed Edifier's MR5 speakers, which really excel at clarity and upper mid-range definition. So overall, the QR65s offer fantastic sound. This is loud enough to fill out a small to medium sized room. There's really no type of distortion, and you can fine tune the sound to get it where you want. And again, these are going to sound better using the USB or aux inputs. If you mostly know you're going to be using Bluetooth connectivity for these, I would say go for the Edifier M60 speakers. Those just sounded great out of the box without really playing with the EQs in Bluetooth mode. But the QR65s do have that subwoofer out, which a lot of other speakers don't. So if you definitely want more bass, these can't be beat. These look beautiful sitting on any desk with the LED lighting effect, so you can change the lighting effect speed really fast, really slow. You can make it really bright or really dim, or you can cut it off completely, and you can set custom colors in the Edifier app. If you're going to be gaming, just make sure you use the USB input or the aux input so you have zero latency. When it comes to GaN charging, so we have up to 65 watts of charging using the USB-C ports, and if you use the USB Type-A port, then it's up to 60 watts. Now you can also charge up to 3 devices at once, but they are gonna share that 65 watts. Let's talk about the 2 things that are missing from the QR65. So the first is multi-point support. So what that means is you won't be able to connect 2 Bluetooth devices simultaneously to these, so you can't connect, your laptop or desktop and phone at the same time. You would have to disconnect one device and then connect the other device. There's also no headphone jack on the front of these, so just keep that in mind. So the Edifier QR65 monitor speakers are packed with a ton of features like multiple connectivity inputs, 70 watts total output for powerful sound thanks to the dedicated Class D amplifiers for each driver, which deliver great bass and good clarity. They also look beautiful sitting on any desk with the infinity LED mirror lighting effect, and it's so handy having the ability to charge up to 3 devices at once with up to 65 watts of fast charging. You can also fine-tune the lighting effects and the EQ in the Edifier app, and you can also add a subwoofer, making this a super versatile pair of speakers. So if you're interested in picking up Edifier's QR65 monitor speakers with GaN charging either in the black or white, I'll leave links down below for you to get your very own or to learn more. If you know that you definitely need multi-point and a headphone jack, check out my review of Edifier's MR5 speakers up here next. I have a huge favor to ask. If you found this video helpful, would you mind liking it, subscribing? It truly does help me out. I have way more speaker review videos coming soon, and maybe consider checking out some of my other tech reviews. Outside of speakers, I also review headphones, earbuds, phones, phone accessories, really something for everyone, and I hope you'll join me in my next video soon.